Welcome to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by thesoberclub.com. I'm Janie Lee Grace. This is for you if you've quit the booze or you'd like to, or maybe you're just sober curious. I'll bring you tips and motivation without any judgment, and there'll be inspiration from experts, quit-lit authors, and sober heroes. Hi, and welcome to the podcast. I do hope you're well and you've had a good week. It was really great to meet a few podcast listeners in Scotland, in Glasgow. Wonderful to be there. Haven't been there for so many years, and wow, it's a wonderful place, isn't it? It's changed a lot. It was not as great as that when I went. Goodness, what? Oh my God, I'm going to say it now. 40 years ago. The very first Wham tour. That was the last time I'd been to Glasgow. It was great to be part of the I Write Festival and to meet some podcast listeners. So there is a brand new edition of Happy, Healthy, Sober, Ditch the Booze and Take Control of Your Life. That's coming out in December. So it was a kind of a pre-gig for that. So yeah, looking forward to sharing more about that book when it's released. Some of you have read the original, of course, and this is the updated new edition with some extra bits and bobs in there. So I really hope you like it. If you get a chance to put that on your Christmas list, maybe. Very much looking forward to my guest this week, Lorraine, author of the book I Am Lorraine, a really powerful story. So I think you're gonna love hearing what Lorraine has to say. Just before we get into that, I've got a few things I want to share with you. One is apropos to nothing linked to health and wellness or sobriety, really, other than, they do say laughter is the best medicine. And I sometimes don't know what the hell is wrong with me. I don't know, I get an idea in my head and then I sign up to something. And before I know it, I've said yes. And I haven't really had a chance to think it through. And that's exactly what happened. I saw this opportunity to be part of a Strictly style dance competition. And I mean, let's face it, I ain't famous enough to be on the real one. So, but who doesn't want to wear sequins and have a go? And so I kind of signed up and I literally, it took me 5 seconds to kind of make the decision. To do it. And then ever since I've been thinking, what the hell am I actually doing? It's ages since I've done any, dancing of any note. So the last time, I said this on a blog post, the last time that I danced professionally, in inverted commas, was on stage in the panto. I was the spirit of the ring in Aladdin. And it was the very first panto I ever did. I suppose it must have been, I was definitely still drinking. So gosh, must have been 9 years ago, something like that. First panto I ever did, and I was wearing this ridiculous outfit with these massive sort of flowing trousers. I was a kind of Aladdin type figure, and stupidly high heels. What was I thinking? So I was doing this quite complicated dance routine, and really going for it, sashaying across the stage, and tripped my trouser leg caught in my heel. Oh God, literally arse over tit, skidding across the whole of the stage. And of course it had to be the night when my whole family had come to see me. I mean, I've never, ever been able to live it down. Still makes my heart beat fast. My kids still take the mick out of me now, even now, after all of these years. So seriously, what was I actually thinking? But there you go. It's too late now. And part of the gig is that I have to raise a lot of money for the Rennie Grove Peace Hospice. That's who it's for. And that came about for me because I did an interview actually on BBC, on local BBC radio, and I was standing in for a presenter a little while ago. And we interviewed someone from the hospice, and they were talking about the work that they do. And then I spoke to someone whose husband had been in the hospice, and she was describing the experience. And really, the way she kind of summed it up was that it was joyful, and man alive, isn't that what we want? If you can make the end of life for someone actually joyful, despite everything, then that's really something, isn't it? And I had no idea how much money these places have to raise. I mean, I really had no idea what it costs. It's an eye-watering amount of money just to stay open each week, right? And so I figured, it's a fantastic cause. It really is. And the Rennie Grove Peace Hospice, which is the one in Hertfordshire, who are putting this event on. They really work hard on their fundraising, clearly. And they've pulled this together. It's called Strictly Come Hospice. So they've got use of all the branding and everything and the music, which is great fun. And we've got pro dance teachers. I mean, that's why it's super cool for me. I'm very lucky. Pro dance teachers actually teaching us the steps. And we're going to be doing a show at the Watersmeet Theatre in Hertfordshire at the end of January. So, I'm kind of all in, really. I don't have an option now. I'm all signed up. I'm going to definitely be needing input on the costumes. Sequins will be in sight, I'm sure. But meanwhile, I got to raise a lot of money. That's the bottom line. So I have, they have a Just Giving page, and I've got my link that I can share with you all. And, of course, I'm going to ask you, please, would you consider donating, even though I know it's nothing to do with the podcast. There is an element of, can you still dance sober? Even if you couldn't dance before, something like that. So it's justgiving.com/page/Janie-Lee-Grace-3. But I will put that link in the show notes, and you can also find it if you go to thesoberclub.com, of course. So huge appreciative thank you if you're willing to donate. Any amount is so welcome. I'd be really grateful. And if you want to come along to the show and cheer me on, that would be even better. Anyways, right, enough of my extracurricular activities. We've also got Monday, 8th of December, my Christmas bash, my Alcohol-Free Life podcast recording. So you guys are so important. I love it if you can come. And that's at Club Soda, of course, my special guest, Andy Ramage. And there's going to be, it's going to be really, really nice. It's going to be great to connect with coaches and Sober Club members and podcast listeners and anyone else who wants to come. So tickets are available. It's quite a small venue, so there aren't many tickets. It would be just brilliant to see you there. So please come if you can. And then before that, on Monday 24th of November, it's my what does it mean to be a sober coach, or explore a career as a sober coach, whatever you want to call it. It's a free webinar. It would be great if you wanted to join us for that, even if maybe you're not interested in being a coach, but you have been thinking about supporting other people in some way, or you're thinking, how can I sort of use my enthusiasm about sobriety, because that's what it is really, isn't it? For so many people, we just get so excited, and we want other people to feel this good too. So if you've been thinking about that, you're very welcome to join us for our free webinar. If you just go to thesoberclub.com/events, you'll find it there. And the week before that, there's a sober men webinar, sober guys, which is organized by one of our coaches, Tony. So you can sign up for that as well if you want to. And I'm going to be in Manchester, by the way, this weekend, as part of the Louder Than Words festival. So I'm just doing a bunch of music biz stuff there. But if anyone is in Manchester, drop me a message. Let's meet for a coffee. It's not often I get to go up there, so it'd be great to see you. And just a reminder, if you are interested in coach training, please drop me a message. Please join our webinar. But if you're starting out, or if you're just interested in the wellbeing piece, or you would just like to connect with like-minded people, don't forget the Sober Club. It has so many amazing resources within it. And, I think sometimes I forget myself just how much great stuff we've got in the Sober Club. There's a huge member portal that has just about every wellbeing exclusive bit of content you can imagine. There are expert guests. There's just so much going on in there, as well as an online course, Get the Buzz Without the Booze, and regular meetups on Zoom, and a private community where people are just incredible cheerleaders for each other. So please join us. You can be day one or thinking about sobriety, or you might be 10 years sober. There's really something for absolutely everybody. So it's thesoberclub.com. And it would be amazing to have you join us there. And all the archive blogs and all of that stuff as well. So anyways, join us, thesoberclub.com. Would you like to become an accredited sober coach? Have you quit drinking and found yourself looking for a new purpose? Thousands of people are searching for help to quit and live their best life without the booze. Our Sober Coach training gives you the tools, the confidence, and the community to support others. No experience needed, except knowing what it feels like to have drunk more than you wanted to. We start with 2 transformational in-person days. Then you join our coaches family with ongoing support and webinars to help you use your skills in ways that suit you. If you're already a coach or a therapist, this could be an in-demand extra string to your bow, or a whole new career opportunity as a Sober Club accredited coach. For more info, visit thesoberclub.com and click on the Become a Sober Coach menu item. So I'm delighted to be joined by Lorraine and a fascinating book, I Am Lorraine. How are you?
I am fabulous, Jeannie. How are you?
Yeah, really great to chat to you. And so before we get into all the stuff about the book and all of the things that you're up to now, let's go right back. Tell me some of the stuff that went before, what got you to where you are now.
Oh, there's always a
There
journey
is. There's always a
story,
story, isn't
isn't
there?
there,
Yeah.
Jeannie? I'm very fortunate to be here and an individual who practices gratitude every day. And the reason I do that is really because I had gotten to a point in life where alcohol very much took me by storm. At a point in life when I really didn't see it coming. And that is the thing about the relationship that I had developed with alcohol. It was insidious and it started to slowly strip away the person I was.
Did this start when you were very young or later on?
No, it was more later on. And I think that's partly why it was such a big surprise. And it took me a while to come to terms with the fact that there was a dependency there when there hadn't historically been.
Yeah.
There you go. And here I am now. And so it all worked out just fine.
So what happened for you? How did you get free from the alcohol trap? What happened along the way? What led you to do the work that you're doing now? What were the key pieces that made the difference?
So I found that I had definitely become somebody who was suffering from depression and anxiety.
Yeah,
I had started to isolate quite a bit. And I certainly got to a point where I identified, at least with myself, that I was using alcohol to numb my feelings. So I
yeah,
wasn't coping and dealing with life on life's terms. And
yeah.
so this alcohol in the form it showed up for me in a glass of wine became like my medicine. It felt like at the time it was the solution to my problems, whereas actually it was just adding to my problems and making everything a lot worse.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting, isn't it? Because there's nowhere near enough work done around that connection between anxiety, depression, and alcohol. And yet, for sure it exacerbates it. There's this you just it's just not talked about enough. It makes me really frustrated actually. That's not like the first thing somebody would think of is, okay, well, if you're anxious, if you're depressed, let's have a look at how much you're drinking first before we add in antidepressants or medication on top of the alcohol, which is typically what happens, right? So what led you to become interested in gratitude and the various other things you practice?
Well, I think I got to a point, I don't think actually, I know for sure. I got to a point where I hit a rock bottom. Now, I do believe that anyone else who's maybe listening and has experienced a rock bottom is relevant to the individual. So this was
Mm.
my rock bottom, and I
Yeah,
can only really speak from my own personal experience.
yeah.
However, it was most certainly a rock bottom. And I literally got to a point where I felt as though something has to change.
Mm.
So it was a defining moment and something I remember really clearly. But if I didn't change, the situation wouldn't change. In fact, it was just aggregately getting worse and worse and worse. And this was my low point.
Yeah.
So almost like a flickering candle in the nighttime, far away in the distance, I felt this glimmer of hope. It came from within. And I decided I need to change. I have to radically change And because I developed a dependence with alcohol, I was scared of what my life and how I might be and would I be able to be without this thing that I'd become so reliant on.
Mm.
So it was scary. But there you go. It's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me, if I'm really honest.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. It's always absolutely the best thing you can ever do, isn't it, for your health and well-being? So tell me how you got into the other stuff, the gratitude, the fire walking, which we're definitely going to touch on.
Oh, my life is full of lots of wonderful and vastly different experiences and opportunities these days, all because actually I made that decision at that point, at that low bottom point, to change and to try a life of abstinence. And so, as part of that journey, I developed a new sense of self. I realized as I was transitioning into a life of abstinence from alcohol that I lacked a sense of faith, and I certainly had lost the self-confidence I once had when I was that bit younger.
Mm,
And so there was a definite link between where I was at that point and realizing that if I wanted to be free in my mind and really be happy, I had to work on a few things. And so I really delved deep into that, into a sense of spirituality, finding a faith. It's not religious, but it's something that works for me. And looking at the reasons, the how and the why I was drinking it all in the first place.
mm,
And as part of that, it put me on a new trajectory in my life, which was filled with positivity, opportunity, and I started to change. I really do believe, and I'm sure you'll agree with me, Janie, a leopard can change its spots if
mm.
it so chooses.
Well, particularly if it's no longer being poisoned.
For sure. I mean, everybody's off to a good start if they decide they want to make that choice for themselves. And while there was a point in time where I felt I didn't really have a choice,
Mm,
now when I look back, I realize I did have a choice. I always had a choice. It's just that I lost sight of it. And
yeah.
along the way, in these years of abstinence, I very much developed a sense of self-worth again.
Mm,
It's not egocentric. In fact, there's a degree of humility in being able to have this wonderful opportunity of having this conversation with you right now and openly saying, I developed a dependence with alcohol. It wasn't working for me. I made a personal choice. And now these are the things I'm doing as a result of that
yeah.
decision.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely, and I think the self-worth piece is so key. It's always so key to all of this. And I don't know how much of my podcast you've heard, but I've said lots of times on the pod that I was somebody who on the outside, on the surface, knew everything there was to know about self-love and self-worth. Hay House author, interviewing all the spiritual gurus. I could absolutely sit down and tell you how best to do a meditation practice. But if you'd asked me personally, that was just like a complete flip and, oh, no, well, it's not for me,
mhm.
because I absolutely had zero sense of self-worth and self-esteem when it really came to it. And it's only looking back I realize why. It's because I wasn't authentic. And the second I tried to sit in meditation or tried to sort of focus on self-love and self-worth, somewhere deep down, a little voice would say, but actually you're pouring toxic poison down your head every night. So it's only when you remove that you can actually begin to start to like yourself again. And that's a part of sobriety that I wish more people realize. It's hard to promote that bit, if you like, because it seems so woolly, but actually it's huge, isn't it? It's a huge part of it.
It's enormous. And thank you for saying all of that because it resonates so clearly with me. And I love these discussions that you have on your podcast. I mean, it makes me laugh now. And the wonderful thing is I can laugh about it. But
Yeah.
similar to your situation, I was working in well-being.
Yeah.
I was a fitness instructor, a nutritionist. I was delivering workshops and seminars, advocating healthy living, healthy lifestyle. And to all intents and purposes, for an onlooker, they may have had the perception that I was glowing on
Mm.
the inside and
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
When the actual reality is, I mean, the just the contradiction of the whole scenario was that I was wearing so many masks. I didn't even know who I was anymore. And I was certainly faking what I was endorsing. And
Yeah.
that wasn't sitting well with me because I had once been the person who was very much embodying and living the lifestyle. But
Yeah.
I lost all
Yeah.
sense of that.
Yeah, me too. Me too. It's really interesting, isn't it? When you
Yeah.
and I think there are still lots and lots of people who really genuinely believe that they're doing all these pieces. They're doing the yoga, they're eating well, they're looking at the right skincare, all the stuff I used to talk about the whole time. And
Mhm.
yet there's this massive elephant in the room that is alcohol, that is
Mhm.
still seen by society as, oh well, it's just your little treat. And we just need to unlock that. We just need to bring the truth out, because still the truth is not spoken about enough, really. It is fascinating. So tell me a little bit about how you got involved in fire walking. Tell us, well, for anyone who's not aware, just tell us what it is.
Oh, fire walking. Fire walking's my new love, Jamie. And it's one of many. And that's the wonderful thing actually about making this one decision, this one choice, and my personal choice to not drink is that now I have been given so many wonderful things.
Yeah. Well, being sober makes you brave for sure, even for fire walking.
Absolutely. And I've definitely developed this personal interest in mental resilience,
Mm,
mental strength. In fact, I work with corporate groups in coaching environments and retreat facilitation days and experiences to guide them into a sense of greater mental resilience and strength through
right.
many different mediums. And so one of those most recently for me has been fire walking. And
Hmm.
what I love about it is I genuinely feel we all have a comfort zone that we like to live in.
Yeah.
My own personal mindset is that when I think I'm at my maximum capacity, that could be the most stressed, the most stretched with what I think I can do,
Yeah.
that core belief system or physical exertion, well, then actually I'm really only at 40% of what I can achieve. And I would say the same for anybody else. So when you push past your own mind's perceived limitations, you get into this slightly uncomfortable space. So it's out of your comfort zone, but it's exciting. It's where we can tap into a greater sense of mental resilience. And it's playing with the notion of overcoming our fears. The fear might still be present, but what we're doing is really tapping into a greater sense of courage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's how I live my life today. And fire walking has become part of that.
Right. And what exactly is it for anyone who doesn't know? I mean, is it literally a hot coals and we walk over them?
So it's this wonderful ritualistic process that has been around since ancestral times, and it is a rite of passage. So you build a fire like Jenga, and the firewood that's chosen needs to be one type of firewood cut to equal measure and size on an area that's ground protected. So there's a lot of safety protocol involved. When the fire is burnt down and you have these hot coals, looking at these codes, in fact, is absolutely enchanting and
Mhm.
mesmerizing in itself, let alone the whole walking over fire experience. And then people like myself who are fire walking instructors carefully, and we call them fire tenders, shovel the hot coals and lay them out to form a path. And this path is essentially the fire walk. There are many things you can do in preparation before you walk over the fire. That fire is between 700 and 800 degrees Celsius in heat. And I have had the opportunity in the last couple of years of walking over fires, hot fire walks, quite a number of times. And to say it's an exhilarating experience, it's uplifting, it's energizing, it's also very spiritual in nature. And it's a wonderful thing to do.
Mm,
Many people probably steer clear of it because of the fear element.
yeah.
But let me tell you, if I can do it, anybody can.
So I know this is a ridiculous question, but I know everyone's going to want me to ask it. Do you
Uh-huh.
actually burn your feet?
So, in the firewalking community, this firewalking world that I now partly reside in and in and out of from time to time, we use certain terminology. So if I, for example, was facilitating a firewalk for you, Janie, and all our listeners, we would talk in advance about the fact that you might get a fire kiss. So what that means is, yes, the fire, one of the coals on the fire might just peak a little bit of a sensation on your foot.
Mhm.
Ultimately, it might be a burn. We cannot guarantee that people do not become burnt. However, there is a synchronicity there with where you feel this sensation in your foot in relation to the reflexology chart. And
Mm,
it's usually showing you something, an area in the body that requires a little bit of attention. There was one particular evening when we were doing a fire walk and it was adapted to the spiritual number of 108. And I walked over this hot fire, which had fresh coals put on it, time and time, again throughout the course of the evening, 108 times, and I never burnt my feet.
wow.
So you don't necessarily get burnt.
Hmm.
But what it will do is waken something inside you. And of
Mm.
course, our rational mind is going to worry and consider that we are going to get burnt. But honestly, I facilitate ice baths and cold exposure and winter retreat experience as well. I genuinely think it takes a lot more mental preparation to get into an ice bath than it does to walk over fire.
Yeah, I can imagine actually. Just briefly before we go on to the ice bath thing, I'm guessing part of this as well is just the absolute healing effect of being in nature as well, isn't it, really? And just to be just to be outside and actually have your feet on the earth, that's a great starting point for anyone.
Absolutely. And there's also something very special. So whoever is facilitating the firewalk will generally address the audience, set the tone, give them their best conversation so that they're helping them to set their intentions for what their firewalk is for.
Mm,
What
mm,
fears do they want to overcome? So you
yeah,
create this bond amongst the group. And I'm sure, Janie, you've embarked in activities and experiences in life where you were part of a group and you were doing something where you were stretched out of your comfort zone a little bit and
mm,
perhaps fearful. And then the feeling you have, the overriding feeling you have at the other side of that is a sense of personal achievement,
yeah.
fulfillment, and new connections, camaraderie. So it comes with a host of other benefits.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. And then on the talk to me about ice then. I think are you am I right in saying you're a Wim Hof instructor?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Tell us a little bit more about that then, because of course we went the whole UK went through a phase where everybody decided they should have an ice bath.
Absolutely. I think
Um,
it's a bit of a
yeah.
global craze, and
Yeah.
there's certainly still a lot of people quite interested in it. So I'm one of these fortunate people who is an advanced, what we call an advanced Wim Hof instructor. I'm the first female Wim Hof instructor in Scotland, and there are only a handful of us around the world that have this advanced qualification. What that means is I have trained at Wim Hof Space Camp 2 times, met some wonderful people, and have used these breathing exercises and advanced breathing exercises, along with visualization techniques and the capacity to become hyper focused, to sustain being in an ice bath for quite a long time. So I trained to withstand an ice bath at 1 degree Celsius for over 20 minutes. And at that point, you're feeling
Mm,
hyperthermia coming and sweeping over your body. And you
mm.
use these visualization techniques to keep it away. So there's a power of the mind element in that. Now, that is very much for the trained individual. And I have the joy of having the qualifications whereby I can now take people out in the wild in extreme cold conditions and do fun and crazy things like climb Mount Snishka in up to minus 20 degrees, scantily clad in shorts,
Mm.
using this hyper focusedness and breath work. And it's just another string to my bow, really, of many in terms of my own personal journey when it comes to mental resilience and mental strength.
Yeah, yeah. I can absolutely see how. I mean, I do. I find it absolutely fascinating that the power of the mind is just huge, isn't it? There's just so much that we don't tap into that we don't use. There's so much more than most of us ever use, as it were. But for anyone who just wants to bring a tiny bit of that perhaps into their everyday life, are you a fan of the 2 minutes of a cold shower, or what are the little things that we can all do?
I'm so glad you asked that question. And people ask me all the time. And I have a very short response, and it's to say, if you are willing to try at the end of your nice, cozy, warm shower in the mornings to just slowly turn the dial down. So you've got control of that temperature change. And all you need to do is think about exhaling as the water gets cold. So focus on a long exhalation. And if you can do that for 15 seconds, you're reducing inflammation in the body. You're increasing your dopamine and endorphin release massively, increasing potential longevity of life, tapping into building a stronger immune system, keeping minor things like colds at bay. And so, and the final thing I will say about that as well is it improves cognition, so mental focus. And it's something we can all do. 15 seconds in the morning. And then as you find your body's craving it more, and it will, you can increase the time.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. And then in terms of the breathing generally, what would you say is a good typical breathing exercise that any of us can have a go at?
So the wonderful world of breath work these days means that there are many different forms and different types of breathing techniques for different scenarios. If somebody's in an acute stressor situation and they need to calm their nervous system down very quickly, I would recommend box breathing. So
Mm,
it's something I can teach you in a few seconds, and
mm.
you literally draw an imaginary box with your index finger, breathing in for 4 while you draw the box.
So you
Out
draw up
for
the side of
4.
the box, as it were, four along the
Yeah.
top of the box. Yeah.
So doing the three things all at the same time, it actually takes all your attention and just helps to calm everything down.
Mm, yeah.
In control of your nervous system response in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, yeah, it's a fantastic tip, isn't it, for someone who is, sometimes when people are very early days of sobriety, um, they can feel very anxious, completely raw, don't know who they are, don't know what the hell is going on. And sometimes you just need to bring yourself back to balance, and just a really simple breathing exercise like that can just calm you down enough to be able to make the next rational decision, right? Yeah,
Absolutely. And we can all come across obstacles and situations in life where we get stressed or have a shock, and
yeah.
nothing, or adrenaline and fight or flight is firing on all cylinders. Our heart feels like it's pounding out of its chest. And so being able to use a very simple technique that's at our disposal all the time to just regain control and reduce the sense of fear is priceless, really,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And let's just talk about gratitude. I know that's something you focus on within the Sober Club and the clients that I work with. I recommend everybody focuses on gratitude, especially in the early weeks of sobriety. If you focus on literally on the blessings, I would call them, of literally the specifics of what is this bringing me? What am I gaining here, rather than the typical dry January thing of, oh my God, I'm going to grit my teeth till it's over. Gratitude is just huge, isn't it, in terms of what it can change for us.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you mentioned it, Janie. It's something I have as part of my daily practice. And what it does for me is allows me to focus on good things in my life, all those things to be thinking in a positive way about, because it's very difficult with the numbers of thoughts we have in a 24-hour period, and there are many, that all these thoughts are naturally positive. I mean, I take my hat off to the person who only thinks in a positive way.
Yeah.
By
Quite
practicing
difficult, isn't it?
gratitude, it does remind us, it gives us that leveler. And living in this world, we do come across stresses, situations, financial insecurity, worries for our children, obstacles in our working life, whatever the situation is. But if we bring ourselves back to a place of gratitude, certainly for me, it helps to give me perspective
Yeah.
and focus on what truly matters and to not sweat the small stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Because ultimately, whatever you've got going on, whatever it is, it's always something to be grateful for, isn't it? There's always something. So,
There is, and admittedly, though, sometimes we need to work harder to automatically think of that.
yeah, true. Yeah, which
So,
is why it's quite nice to have lists or a little jar where you pop things in or whatever. Yeah,
yes.
yeah, totally. And are you a fan of the Ho'oponoponopono, or however many onos there are on the end?
Oh, Ponopono, I love that
Yeah.
prayer.
Shall we just explain what it is for anyone who hasn't come across it?
Oh, goodness, I haven't spoken to anyone in quite some time who's mentioned Ho'oponopono.
I quite often use it in if I'm chatting to somebody who's. I tell you when it comes in useful for me. I think when someone has got a situation where, particularly if it's a relationship situation, someone has done them wrong, in inverted commas. There's a definite thing going on of it is absolute rage and impossible to forgive,
Mhm.
whether that's yourself or someone else. I find it unbelievably useful technique, to simply chant the words. I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you.
Mhm.
And then, sometimes then people kind of will go, but I don't forgive them. That's okay. We're talking about the situation. Just chant that anyway.
Yes.
And it's unbelievable how it just, I don't know what happens. I've used it in my own life, for things that for really, really, really tricky situations that I didn't know where to go with it.
Mm.
But I knew it was consuming me, if you know what I mean. And you use that chant, and it's so powerful. Somehow it seems to dissolve what else is going on.
Oh my goodness, I am loving this conversation. It's so true.
Yeah.
This beautiful Hawaiian prayer with 4 lines that anyone can use anywhere, anytime. It's grounding. And what it does is it allows us to let go of negative energy.
Yeah, exactly.
If we can all just take a moment to imagine a scenario where you do have a resentment or a grievance with another person, situation, or thing, and that can replay in our minds.
Yeah.
And what that's doing, it's taking from our natural peace and happiness, and it's lowering our sense of energy and our energy output expenditure and our capacity to get good things back.
Yeah.
In doing this, in reciting this prayer out loud, so it puts it into existence, it makes it more impactful and more powerful. Even if we're not feeling it on the inside yet, like a situation where it's going to do us good to forgive somebody because of something. even if we don't want to, but you put this into practice. You've got the willingness there that you want to get there. And something magical happens
Mm.
because ultimately, love is the answer to everything. It's higher vibrational in terms of energy. And if we let go of the grievance, the scenario, the obstacle, and find capacity within ourselves to forgive,
Yeah.
forget about the other person or the other thing. What that does for us as an individual is it frees us up.
Yeah.
It frees us
Absolutely.
back to this place of peace.
Mm. Mm.
Ground zero, we call it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in these moments, when we're back there in this place of peace, being in the moment, as Tolle calls it, we then have the opportunity to be inspired,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
have opportunity cross our path, to
Yeah.
invite good things into our life by osmosis.
Yeah, because again, what you focus on, you'll get more of, right? So if we just constantly spend our whole life being depressed about whatever the thing is that's being tricky, as you say, we don't have room for the good stuff.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, we could talk forever, couldn't we, really? It's fantastic, the stuff you're doing. Just remind us how we can find out more about your work. In fact, just tell us about the book first. Tell me what's in the book. What can people get from the book, I Am Lorraine?
Uh, Thank you for asking that question. So, my book, I Am Lorraine, it is a memoir. It is a raw, unfiltered, as many people write in the wonderful reviews and messages I've received from those who've read the book. It is raw, it is unfiltered, it's messy, but it's full of fun and laughter. And ultimately, and I really do believe this, everyone experiences grief, hardship, emotional pain, changes in personal circumstances, difficulty. And I've lived a life of adversity for sure. But then I made a choice. And I say to myself, now what am I going to do about it?
Mm,
And so, since I came to that place of reckoning, I've done a lot of doing. And ultimately, the story is about the upward spiral, the transcendence. There's a lot of female empowerment in it. And that, as part of that sense of self-worth development,
yeah. Yeah.
wow, I've done quite a few fun, adventurous things.
Yeah, yeah, love it. Absolutely love it. Well, I'm always telling people being sober makes you brave. It really does. It's been so wonderful for me to see sober club members, clients of mine who've done just incredible things that they would never have imagined they could do. Not necessarily climbing mountains or walking over coals yet, but one woman signed up to do a creative writing course, and she said in her wildest dreams she could never have imagined that she would feel worthy to do such a thing. So whatever it is for the individual, it's amazing how you get that energy once you've quit the booze. Let me ask you something. When you wrote your memoir, as you probably know, I've written a memoir as well. Did you get that really freaky thing just before the book came out where you thought, this is a really bad idea? I don't think I want to release this at all. Or is that just me?
Oh my goodness, I can relate. It was a case of, oh no, maybe I've changed my mind. Backtrack,
Yeah.
backtrack, backtrack. I can't do
Claire
this.
Claire Pooley, who is another author, I'm sure you know, she actually said to me, "Oh dear, have you had the walking down the street naked dream yet?" That happens just before you release a memoir, because that's exactly how it's going to feel, right? So, oh my God, it's all out there. It's completely exposed. What the hell have I done?
So exposed, so exposed. You're like
Yeah.
peering around the door as you go out in
Yeah.
public.
But that again, that is the lovely thing about being sober. You're able to be authentic. That does not mean perfect, but it does mean authentic. And, and then you can own everything. Years ago, there's no way I would have been able to be authentic about stuff that happened, even the stuff of myself that I'm not proud of. But actually, that's the stuff that can probably help inspire someone else so that they don't have to go through it, right? So it does all come back to that sense of authenticity that I genuinely don't think you can. I don't think you can truly have it unless if you're drinking. I really don't.
I couldn't agree more. You can't truly have it. Whereas when we choose to do what you and I have done, it puts a message out to all the others who are maybe mulling it over and haven't made the decision yet.
Yeah.
And it creates that sense of courage. Um, the law of attraction really working at play and gives people that sense of faith and encouragement. You can do this.
Yeah.
It will change your life. And then every single opportunity is there for the taking, and you'll have ownership of that.
Yeah.
And I used to worry about what people would think of me. I was riddled, proper Irish phrase there, riddled with guilt and shame.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now I've put it all in a book.
Yeah.
So, the freedom that goes with that and the cathartic process of just not sweating the small stuff, not worrying about other people's opinions. They're entitled to their opinions. They might be different to yours, and that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely love it. Thank you so much, Lorraine. I'll put the link to the book in the show notes. And yeah, I really appreciate it. I hope we get to meet up at some point. We should do something together. It'd be great fun. Really lovely to chat to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was fabulous.
I will put that in the show notes. Just a reminder, Explore a Career as a Sober Coach. The webinar is free, Monday, 24th of November, 7:30 p.m. It'd be great to see you there. Monday, the 8th of December. Everything's on a Monday. It's our Sober Club Alcohol-Free Life podcast recording at Club Soda with special guest Andy Ramage. It'd be amazing to see you there too. And of course, well, I suppose I'm kind of begging. Yeah, I'm kind of begging for a small donation to via Just Giving to my mad foray into Strictly Come Hospice. I'll put it all in the show notes for you. And just a reminder, some of you listen to this, it might be the first sobriety, if you like, podcast you've listened to. Maybe it's the very first time you've started thinking about connecting with other people. But keep going. That's my top message to you. You will never do anything better for your health and well-being. I mean, I joke about doing this Strictly Come Hospice thing. The reality is, when I was drinking, I wouldn't have done something like that. I wouldn't have stepped outside my comfort zone. And I wouldn't have been as enthusiastic about supporting causes. I'd have been too busy thinking about the pennies I needed for my the next batch of booze. Really, I think that there's something really special about sobriety. It just changes who you are. So yeah, I can't recommend it enough, as I'm sure you've probably gathered if you've listened to any of my podcasts before. So if you're brand new, tell someone you're doing this. Really, please tell someone. You may not want to join us in the Sober Club. I hope you do, but if you don't, that's okay. Join any other group, connect with a bunch of people, or just reach out and tell someone. But do tell someone. I offer one-to-one coaching as well, of course. I do have space for a couple of clients at the moment. But if you don't want to do any of that, just the absolute bare minimum is tell someone you're doing this, just to keep you accountable. I'll hold the vision for you. Just message me. You can find me on social media at Janie Lee Grace. And I promise you, I'll hold that vision for you. I want this for you really badly. I really do. And you should want it for yourself. You're worth it, right? I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Alcohol Free Life podcast, brought to you by the Sober Club. Please rate and review. And if you want support, accountability and inspiration, and you want to live your best life without the booze, check out thesoberclub.com.